Welcome to another episode of the Loren Lahav podcast, where we're celebrating our 5th year of bringing you the most fascinating, coolest humans on the planet. You know, I am cruising towards my 60th trip around the sun, and I've discovered something really magical. The world is packed with even more incredible stories than I ever imagined. And every week, it's like opening a surprise gift. You never know who's going to pop into our studio. Maybe it's a tattoo artist who became a quantum physicist or a grandma who just climbed Kilimanjaro. We dive into the good, the messy, and the beautiful, sharing those awe moments, the epic fails that turn into beautiful wins, and the raw truth about owning who we really are. Because let's face it, life is way too short to pretend. So grab your favorite beverage, get comfy, and join our tribe of authentic souls who aren't afraid to keep it real. This is where wisdom meets laughter and where every story matters. Let's dive in. Welcome back, everyone. Hopefully, and I say welcome back because hopefully you've been listening to all of these awesome podcasts with all my cool friends from around the world. And this man here you're my spirit animal, Tim. Aren't you? You're my spirit animal.
We do have a lot of fun together.
We do have a lot of fun together. I mean, we got to be careful about what we say, but like what we do have fun together. I mean, we spend weeks together, years together. I think sometimes more. I think in 1 year, maybe I spent more time with you than I did with my husband. So people are probably getting really curious about what the heck are we talking about?
Yep.
And what do you think? What do you think? Should we tell them?
I think we should tell them all of our deepest, darkest secrets.
I agree. So Tim, I have had the honor of meeting Tim. Gosh, how many years ago was it now?
3. I've been doing this for 3. I know it feels longer than that, but it's actually only been 3.
No way. That is insane.
Cello and I were talking about this
definitely have been waiting my whole life
3.
for you. I've been waiting my whole life for you. You know, I think that my word of the year is crystallization.
Yeah.
And I think that for so long, I felt like I've got all these pieces, like I've got all these amazing pieces. I've got all these amazing people. I've got all this. And then it's kind of like this past year, everything's just coming together, right?
Nice.
And just crystallizing. And you are a huge part of the crystallization in so much, and I'm beyond grateful. So we work together in Fiji teaching mastery. He's my music man. So tell us a little bit. I know you're the mathematician turned music man. Share a little bit of that journey.
Yeah, so it fits well when we joke about I love numbers and numbers love me, because that was kind of my foundation. I actually went to school to be an architect, and quickly decided all I wanted to do was design my own home, not everybody else's. And so tried to get out of school still on time in 4 years, and was playing sports and switched to economics and finance because I like numbers. And so graduated there, sold investments and insurance, was missing sports. My buddy was like, dude, let's go back, get our teaching certificates and coach football. So we did that. And I taught high school math for a handful of years and coached high school football with my buddy. And it was awesome and great. And then I was missing kind of the entrepreneurship that I had with the investments and insurance work. And so I started to build a hybrid, which eventually led me to kind of where I'm at now. So I'd always kind of DJ'd on the side for fun. My brother had done some wedding DJ work. And so we goofed around and built playlists and mashups for our annual party at Seafair up in Washington. For anybody from the Seattle area, Seafair in August is one of the greatest weekends up there. And we'd throw our party, and I was usually in charge of music. And then while I was teaching high school, my kids were complaining about their homecoming DJ. And I was like, you guys know I can do this, right? And they're like, whatever, Freeburg, you're a math teacher. You can't do music. And so I convinced them, because I was the senior class advisor, I convinced them to let me be their DJ for the next school dance, and I would just donate the fee into the senior class. And as soon as I had that opportunity, I immediately became an overnight school DJ. And like I picked up like a dozen gigs for the rest of the school year.
But you're different, Tim. But you're really different. I mean, I've worked with a lot of people that do music or people that are do, DJing. And what I love about you, we always talk about the biggest thing I share often, as you know, is that you need to learn how to read a room. You need
Right,
to learn how to read the energy of a room, whether it's a birthday party or, an event you just got back from doing Date with Destiny with, 10,000 people,
right.
5,000, I don't even know how many, 5,000 live, and then people that were, doing it from the comfort of their own home. Could you share a little bit behind it to help people tune in to one when they are doing an event or a birthday party? What would be some tips for you from you?
Yeah, so that was like literally just kind of like how it all kind of started. But then one of the things I'm really a big fan of is the be prepared for opportunities you don't have yet. And so like I'd been goofing around and didn't know I was going to eventually step into being this. And the same has been true now. And so one of the things I've really honed is this idea of, okay, who is my audience, get to know them, what kind of music do they like, and that you can gather that just from observation. I'm a big fan of asking people ahead of time. So anytime I do weddings and things like that now, I always say, hey, send me a playlist of like your absolute must and things that you like, and then that helps put me in the right direction. And then in the moment, not being afraid to make adjustments and call those audibles. So if you're in the middle of a song and you watch the energy of the room go from dancing, dancing, dancing to it kind of dipped, you're like, oh, they didn't really like that. Don't play the full 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Like play the minute, have it, look for the next song, find a transition that's going to try to pick you back up that you know is a little bit safer in their wheelhouse or something like that, and quickly get out of it before you really lose the momentum.
Wow. So I think that's a really important thing because a lot of people think I just need to stick with stick with this song. It's the one that, is kind of like you said on the playlist. But, and like you said, and then they end up losing everybody and they wonder why they lost everybody instead of
Right.
just,
And it's really hard to get them
my
back.
famous, right? Well, first of all, come on. We're not gonna like talk politics, but come on. How has my song become the song for this next whole administration?
Is it? I don't follow politics at all.
I
I think you know
play
this about
I
me.
play
So I
YMCA.
love
Now
your
what am I
song.
gonna do? I play YMCA all the time. You know this. What am I gonna do now?
You're gonna keep
Come
playing it because
on.
people like me don't pay attention to politics, and all we're about is having a good time, and YMCA has a good time.
Absolutely. I love that. I think that that's important. I was just sharing, I went to an event a couple weeks ago and they were talking about Jeff Bezos. And when he started with Amazon, he said, we want to be known as the top company in customer service. And
Mm,
he says that your product is so good that people don't care about any kind of politics whatsoever. Isn't
right.
that cool? So we're playing
Yeah,
the YMCA. Come on, baby. Come on.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because like you said, our goal is really just to have fun, right? Like
Right.
to really just
and,
go for
and
it.
to connect and to get beyond like the mind, right? Like I think music really does start to tap into our soul. And for a lot of the work we're doing, right, which is a lot of this personal growth work and trying to create better lives physically, mentally, health, diet, wealth, all the stuff that we teach out there in Fiji, like if you are stuck in your head, we talk about it all the time, right? If you're in your head, you're dead. Like you've got to break through. And when we can bring music into that, whether it's to tap them into their emotions or it's to tap them into higher energy, like you're literally shifting everything. And so
So
bringing
what,
fun
what would
with
you
it.
yeah, so what would you say your process is for selecting music that matches the energy of the speaker and the energy of the room? Do you have a process? Do you have you know,
Um, yeah,
because
there's
like,
definitely a process.
yeah, I mean, because there's a couple of us that facilitate Life Mastery. Then
Yep.
you have Tony on stage at those events, and then you have other speakers. You have Scott, we have Joseph, you have Syria, you have lots of different people. So, what is your process?
Try to match the energy of the facilitator. I'm a huge fan of support the facilitator first and then follow their lead. And so if I can make sure that when you go on stage, you feel like a rock star and we play your jam, right? Like that's going to set the tempo. And when I know you're calling for Shake the Building. I'm going to bring you some heavy EDM or pop or whatever it is that's going to get us into a higher energy. And we're going to play some of the anchor songs. We're going to play some new stuff maybe they haven't heard, just to kind of keep it fresh and be like, oh my gosh, what was that? And now it's throwing them out of their patterns and you're doing those interrupts and getting them into new thinking. And like I love mixing in some of the new EDM I mix in now, and even cello's open to a lot of it at this point because it's been very successful. Um, and and it's great. And we're getting new writing music where we're getting not only the energy of the song to match, we're getting the lyrics to match sometimes as well. And so those are like our home run hits. So usually the thought process is to match energy first. And then if we can get lyrics, great. But it's better to
I
do.
love though that you say that, because then they go home with an anchor, because we always say it's what they do after the event that's more important than what you do at an event. Like,
Right.
what do you, and so if that song comes on and it triggers you to go, you know what, this would be a great time for me to journal, or it takes them back and they get nostalgic about that moment just by hearing those lyrics. I have
Right.
a question. What are some of the challenges when you're matching the energy, the live music, especially for the world of personal development?
Yeah. Biggest one for me, again, I think is the facilitator. And whether it's you and me having a quick switch, or anybody who's ever watched us on the bigger stages with TR sitting up there, he'll do that every once in a while, or you'll hear us save it or something like that. And so it's trying to anticipate what we need. And so we're going with our gut feeling, our expertise, and then also, follow the facilitator, because ultimately it's their show and that's what we're supporting. And so I think there are moments where we can come in with stuff that we're used to doing and it just for whatever reason doesn't land. And again, having that flexibility and being okay with switching. You don't have to be right on the first guess. You just have to be elegant as you kind of move in and out until you find it. And now once you found it, boom, like it's easy to stay there, and it's easy to have those breakthroughs and those beautiful moments.
No, and we've had a lot of them, right? I can think of a couple that we've had together when the music, I was like, oh my God, this is perfect. And it helped me
Yeah.
lead what I was going to do. It took it to a different direction. I thought I was going to go one way. And then when the music came on, I was like, oh, this is good. Now I can go here. Can
Yeah.
you think of a couple of maybe one special moment that happened when you're like, the music, it was such a, like, oh my God, like that was it. And it totally changed everything in the room.
Yeah, I know like when you and I do closed eyes, there are moments where I am like trying to basically clear my mind and tap into you and feel where you're going with it. And sometimes I guess right, sometimes I don't. And when I do, those are the moments, right, that you're talking about where it's like, okay, we just had this moment where like we had them go tap into their heart for a moment. And now we're starting to build it into like that energetic build that feels more like an epic underscore to a movie, right? And you're able to take them to that build, and people start to stand naturally, and you get them to shout out responses, and then all of a sudden we hit that big grand crescendo and they're celebrating, and like people are literally like hugging and crying and holding each other, and you're like, we just created a like lifelong memory for these people.
Yes.
Like I still
Yes.
remember as a participant some of those moments, and
Yep.
being able to witness us create those for other people is like my favorite part of this work.
I love that. But I want everybody to also be listening, because it doesn't have to be a Tony Robbins event, a big,
No,
huge event. It could be just a small birthday party. It could be a small business meeting.
yeah.
When we do the True Voice together, we help the women, maybe share a little bit about something that happened at True Voice. Can you think of something that happened? I mean, I
The
know the
one that
moment.
stands out to me, you and I were doing in Utah, and we had one of the gals up, and she was very resistant to the breakthrough, right? She was stuck in her story, and you had her up, and we were so far over time. And one of my things I love about you is you're also outcome driven, and you're like, I'm staying with this. There's a through thread that I know is going to land with everybody else around us, and this person needs it in this moment. And you stayed with her, and we played, gosh, probably two or three like
Yeah.
different scores underneath her. And then we finally got into one that was a little bit more spiritual, which was something that she needed. And like, again, it was that moment where you could feel it in her face, like she let go. and she almost like surrendered to growth. And we supported her there musically. She had her sisters around her, and they were all standing and supporting, and like hands were up. Like it wasn't even something that you were asked to do. You were like pulled to do, and like it was such this beautiful moment. And like that's the again, those are the moments that like I live for when I'm in that position. And I'm literally over there, and like for you, when I do some of these smaller shows, right? I'm doing the video, I'm doing the slides, I'm doing like all this stuff, and so I'm like trying to like track the camera. I'm trying to like stay with the music. I'm like, I can't see because I'm crying because everybody's in it. And it's like, oh my gosh, like this is just such this beautiful moment. And like music just helps create that and allowing it to tap beyond again just music, but more of like that energetic field where like it all becomes one.
I love that. Well, right now outside, I had my husband put speakers outside of our house to play music, and it just feels so good. It's a whole different feel. When people come in, he's like, "You sure you want to leave it on?" I go, "Yeah." Everybody's walking by. I want them to hear the Christmas music. I want them to hear the Halloween music, and it
Yeah.
just puts you in a whole different state, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
can you talk about let's give them a little bit of homework. What would be something, maybe an exercise you could give our listeners? And they're like, I don't care about an event. That's all nice and cool. I'll come and attend, but why does this really matter to me? I mean, I believe that everybody should have an anthem.
Yeah.
Actually in my new planner, oh, did Asher bring it? I added something here because I thought of you.
Yeah.
New I am planner that I'm so excited about.
Oh, those are
It looks
gorgeous.
so good. Oh my God. Look at this and see, there's my, how do you like that?
Love it.
Um, but I added something here because you've made such a huge impact in my life that I added something that is, are you ready for this? I think this is so cool. It's what's my song for the week? So like what's my quote for the week, but what's my song for the week? What are
Yeah.
my priorities, but what's the song? Because I mean, I know that I work on different projects certain times, and I'm like, yeah. And then instead of just having my anthem for the day or for the year, for the month or for the year, thought that that'd be a really cool thing. So what would you say to everybody and give them some homework?
I love that idea. Pulling the song of the week. Great idea. Great add to that journal. Because from and it doesn't have to be a new song every week. I would say that because I know for me when I get into some of those things where I'm like, oh, I used this last week. I got to do something different. And it's like, no, if you're still in that rhythm and that's still your vibe, use it. And so it can be your anthem for a few weeks or even a few months
I love that.
if it's what's fueling you. And I'll actually use an example from today of why music's important. And I literally I laughed out loud and I texted our friend group. So we have this Fit Friends group. We're all trying to shed weight and get ourselves back in better shape. And I was doing my walk run today, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna see if I can actually run a full mile, which I haven't done in a while. And so I ran my first mile around the neighborhood, which is almost exactly a mile from, a full loop. And I timed it and I did it in like 10 minutes and 10 seconds. I was like, okay, not terrible. It's the first time I've done it in a long time. I was like, but I wasn't quite done with my workout. So I walked like another half mile to kind of like recover. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna crank this up. And I turned on my powerful playlist that's got a few jams that I would say are like my anthem right now. I'll give you guys one. You should look this one up. It's called Start It Up by Campfire. Highly recommend that one right now. And I put that playlist on and I started running and I knocked out the second mile after like doing the first one and then doing like a cool down half mile. I did another mile and I did it 9:33. Like 37 seconds faster. And I was like, okay, I was in a better rhythm. I didn't feel as tired, and I was already like 1 mile into like this exercise, and it just gave me this other level of energy and boost. So I'm a fan of find the music that fuels you. It can be your anthem for more than a week. I've been using this song for a month or two now. I love it, and it's not right for every moment, but for like this type of a moment when I want to go be a badass and go push myself to my limits, like it puts that extra fuel in me. So
I love that. I love that. And yeah, I love that. It's interesting because Asher went to go take her driver's test yesterday, and she passed, yes.
Woo.
But while she was doing that, while she was out there driving, I just stopped, took a deep breath, and I'm like, put in my headphones and just, literally calm myself down, right? I think that lots of times we don't realize how it affects everything, right? And then a phone call came in for something, and I wanted to make sure that I was in that space, and I was able to, get the results that I wanted from that call, because I wasn't, I think if I hadn't played that music, I don't know if I would have gotten the results,
Right.
So
Right.
let me ask you a question.
You can switch so quickly too, right? So like I've got that pump up jam, and another one that was big for me in my own personal development. I'll share this one as well. It's called Inside Out by the Chainsmokers. And a lot of times people are like, oh, Chainsmokers, EDM, like party hard kind of vibe, right? But like this is more that like it's still got that EDM beat, and it's got some deep bass to it, which I like. But it's more about this idea of like the lyrics are, I'm gonna love you inside out, and like you want to know every piece of it. And like I rewrote that meaning to me, like I'm gonna get to know me, and I'm gonna start to love myself inside out. And so like that became an anthem for me as I was starting to like work through all my stuff and figure out like, why do I do the things I'm doing? Am I doing this for other people, or is this really who I am? I'm gonna start discovering me and love all the bits and pieces I've been hiding for a while.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Music's awesome. I love music.
Amazing. Well, Tim, I love working with you. I'm excited. What would be something that you would say to everybody that you do every day to stay true to yourself?
Oh, let's see. Right now, to stay true to myself, if I'm at home, it's hanging out with the dogs. I love the dogs, and my spirit animals are dogs for sure. People crack jokes that I'm basically a human golden retriever. And so I've got 2 golden retrievers and 2 yellow labs. So that helps me stay true. In the last 4 or 5 months, as I feel like I'm really getting back into like who I feel like I'm supposed to be and meant to be. I'm getting back into my athleticness, and so doing the push-ups, doing the basically the healthy hazels you've taught.
Our healthy hazels, that's right.
Push-ups, squats, planks, and getting physically moving. And so I think I let a lot of that slip, and now that I'm getting back to myself, I think that's something I'm doing.
And then I'm sure you play some music when you're doing your healthy hazels as well.
100%. Just like I said today, helping me get my my faster mile time.
I love it. I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. How can people find out more about you? I don't want them to find too much, because I mean, I don't know when you're going to have time to do anything, but
I don't. I've already got 210 event days booked for next year.
Yeah. So you'll just have to like be cheering him on, show up at an event, come to Own Your Worth. He will be there, come there in March to the Badass and Beautiful event.
Join our TLC, and I'll come have some fun with you guys there too.
Absolutely. All the ladies are in love with Tim, helping them like pull back another layer for themselves. So Thanks so much, Tim. I will see you soon.
Yes,
thanks, everybody.
See you.
Make sure if you love today, I know you love today because we talked about music, and we all love music. And Tim shared some nuggets of what you can really integrate straight into your life, whether you're doing events or you're just an attending event. Now you've got a little bit behind the scenes information of what he does and why he does it. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. And that's a wrap on another episode of the Loren Lahav podcast. I hope you're walking away feeling totally inspired, energized, and ready to take on whatever comes your way. If you enjoyed our conversation today, wait till you hear what's coming up next. Speaking of which, mark your calendars because something incredible is happening March the 7th through the 9th. The Own It experience is coming. And trust me, you don't want to miss out on this transformational event. We're talking breakthrough moments, powerful connections, and tools that you can truly own your journey. Can't wait until then. Here's how you can stay connected. Make sure you subscribe to wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. Just search for the Loren Lahav podcast, and don't forget to tap that follow button. For all the behind the scenes goodness and daily inspiration, follow me on Instagram at I am Loren Lahav. And if you're loving what you're hearing, spread the love. Share this episode with a friend who needs to hear this message. Want to dive into everything we're talking about today? Click the link in the show notes so that you can access exclusive resources, connect with our amazing community, and learn more about the Own It experience in March. Your transformation awaits. Until then, remember your story matters, your voice matters, and you got this. See you on the next episode.